Recording in progress.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to welcome you to the Tuesday, June 6th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda today is the accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is an approval of an amendment to the lease agreement for the JJC.
This is an item I took a look at on behalf of the JJC. They're going to be renting additional space to ROP, Rite of Passage, who operates two separate programs in the back there. It's an increase of revenue to the county, and it's utilizing currently unused space. So it's a good deal for the county.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear real well. What did you say?
The JJC is going to lease additional space, so
Right.
it's revenue to the county.
Right, okay.
It's not a new lease agreement, it's an amendment to an existing lease. Any questions or comments on that? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is under infrastructure planning and growth. Our consent agenda, there's only one item today, approval of the traffic regulatory ordinances. No trucks on Peach Road from Kern Road to Crumstown Highway. If nobody has any questions or comments on that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Trucks.
Next, bid awards for the St. Joseph County Highway Department, the annual bids. Mr. Metters.
Sky Metters, County Engineer, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. The first item, do we need to go through these individually, Mr. Mish, probably?
It's my understanding that what you're intending to do is to award the bid to everyone.
Yes.
And then your process is to find the cheapest and go down the list when obtaining materials.
Yes.
If that's the intention, we're awarding all bids to everyone. I think we can take it all in one.
Yeah, the only one that,
I wouldn't say cheapest, I'd say lowest cost.
Lowest cost, thank you, yeah.
the only one that we're not doing that on is item number 1, 2023 streetlight repairs. So we probably do that one separate after we.
That would be great.
Okay. So I guess what these are, they're annual bids with different materials, paint, guardrail materials, bituminous patching, et cetera. And we've received the bids, reviewed them, and the way that we will do this is, as Mr. Mish said, we will award to all companies and give preference based on the lowest, lowest cost. Is that what we're? It's the lowest
Well said, well
lowest,
said.
yeah, lowest cost. And if they're not available to meet the requirements, then we move to the next cost on the list. That would be for items 2 through 7 on under item B. We've reviewed those and request your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions on 2 through 7.
Negative.
We're going to take one of those separately. So first, we're going to look at approving all bids on items 2 through 7 for the St. Joseph County Highway annual bids.
So and again, I just want to make sure, because it says here that we recommend all bids be accepted. And then that we may purchase with the low bidder depending on the availability? Is
Yes,
that-
ma'am.
So I thought all these were like that then. They're just, you're
Item
accepting
one
them all?
item one is different.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Yes.
But yeah, item
Yeah.
one was different.
So items 2 through 7, that is correct.
Right, yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking too.
Yes, ma'am.
So do we have a motion on items 2 through 7?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye?
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now let's talk about item 1.
Yeah, item 1 is a bid for streetlight repairs and replacements throughout the county. We do have several areas where we have streetlights that we will be, that were put on this list for repair or replacement. We did receive two bids, Michiana Contracting and Martel Electric. Michiana Contracting was the low bid in the amount of $162,800. And we recommend awarding to the low bidder of Michiana Contracting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, bid award for the Community Crossings Matching Grant Maintenance Program, the asphalt overlay.
Yes, what we have here is the requested bid award for our mainline program, for paving program for this year. We did receive $1 million from the state, which is a 50-50 matching grant through the Community Crossings Program. And as part of that, oh, here it is. As part of that, we, at requested bids, we received 2 bids from Milestone Contracting North and Reith Riley Construction Company. Reith Riley Construction Company submitted the low bid of $3,803,179.49. And we've reviewed these bids and found them to be acceptable, and we recommend your approval of the low bid of Reith Riley Construction Company. And funds are available through various money's available through various funds. Our MVH restricted, and also our LRSA fund that we'll be using to match the $1 million that the state put forward. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is for about 12 and a half miles of paving.
Okay, then briefly, can you tell the public how you rate what roads get paved?
Yeah, we have a program, a PACER program, it's called, and what it is it's ranked based on the actual condition of the paving, the amount of cracks in the paving and those types of things. And we actually did that last year for the whole county. It's ranked 1 through 10, and with 10 being pretty much a newly paved road, and 1 being, and anything, 3 or below is pretty much structurally failed at that point, and it needs most of the time those need a complete mill, go in, mill it out, and put in a new pavement system itself. That's how we rate it, and each year now we try to do a third of the county at least as far as rating. The issue that comes up is we have the larger percentage of our roads are in that poor condition, which is anything from between a 3 and a 4 down to 1. Over 50%, well, higher than 50% of our roads are in that poor condition. So we try to attack those based on traffic. Traffic roads get types of traffic, and that's how we go through and we pick which areas that need to be paved. People call in a lot saying my road's and hasn't been paved since it's put in, and a lot of times they're right. Subdivisions, we have a lot of subdivisions now that are coming around that need to be paved, and a lot of subdivisions were put in about 25, 30 years ago. So they're all coming to the point where they need to be paved. So, we're trying to get to it. It's just, it costs about $350,000 per mile for paving. So, and we have about $4 to $5 million, on a normal year, $4 to $5 million to do that. Now, if you do the math, that doesn't go a very long way when we have 1,200 centerline miles of paving of roads in the county that we have to maintain. So there's a lot of thought that goes into which roads are picked. It's not like we pull them out of a hat. This 12 and a half miles was chosen based off of, traffic counts, types of traffic, the condition the road was in, and so forth.
And I believe in the last 2 years, the county has paved the most miles ever yearly.
Yes,
correct?
yes. In the past couple of years, we've been very fortunate. You guys in the council has really made an effort to put money towards paving from the ARP. We had $8 million at one point where we were doing paving over the past couple of years, and I know that there was an additional $5 million just recently that we'll be using this year to do some more paving. So there's been a concerted effort to really look at this and try to tackle this problem by the council and you guys to do that, and which has been, for my department, has been a good thing because we're able to show that we're doing more miles. I believe it was the one year we had over 40 miles of paving, and that was a record of what we did. So.
And then one more final question.
Yes,
Could you
sir.
explain very briefly, Sky,
Yeah.
that even though the city of South Bend is becoming Speed Hump USA, why the county, we don't do that?
Yeah, I'll try to give a brief synopsis of
You have
that.
30 seconds.
Yes, 30 seconds. Okay, here we go. Speed bumps, in order to do those types of traffic calming measures, it takes a pretty extensive study. It's not just a matter of us being able to go out and throw a speed bump in. There has to be a study that shows that it's warranted, shows that it's safe, and those types of things. And then the fact is, we can't maintain them and maintain the roads because of our trucks. In the winter, those things would get beat, pretty bad, and we just can't maintain the roads themselves with the speed bumps there. So our policy is that we do not install speed humps or speed bumps.
And
in
way
the
to do
county.
that, if the city of South Bend would have a traffic bureau, they could slow cars down. Thank you. I have no further questions.
And just for clarification, the PASER ratings are something that are used universally. It's not just,
Yes, sir. Yes, the PASER ratings are used nationally as far as, how pavement is rated. And we've had our people go and get trained by LTAP, which is the local transportation agency out of Purdue, so that we're rating things the right way, and it's not just an objective type rating. It's more, we've been trained on what needs to go into that rating system.
Good.
if there are no other questions or comments, a motion to approve the recommendation to award the contract to Reith Riley Construction.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, approval of engineering services agreement for the bridge on Shively Road over Klein Creek.
Thanks. Our bridge inspection, every 2 years, we have a round of bridge inspections. And our bridge inspection noted that this bridge was slated for replacement. And so we requested a proposal from SJCA, a firm here in town, to design and prepare the contract documents and for replacement of this structure, which is on Shively Road over Klein Creek, which is out just west of the landfill. The agreement is in the amount of $206,657.50. We've reviewed the scope of work and the rates and find that they are appropriate for this type of project. And this project will be funded using the Cumulative Bridge Fund and also money from the American Rescue Plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Not specific to this, but we, the county, are responsible for how many bridges?
Oh, I knew you. were gonna ask
Ballpark?
that. Ballpark,
Don't say a lot.
quite a few.
You didn't say a lot.
I got you. That's a good one.
I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I was just looking at that yesterday. It's definitely over 100.
Right, like
Yeah.
130 or something.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get that.
That's
It's just,
no problem. Don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
all good. But that's, again, the volume of roads and bridges that the county is responsible with limited funds, so doing a good job.
And Sky, that includes structures that are, the average person would consider a bridge, but it also includes large culverts.
Yeah, bridges, the bridges are anything 20 foot and up, but we also are responsible for small structures, which are anything from 3 foot to 20. So that, we have almost the same amount of small structures as we do at bridges. And we're also responsible for anything from 3 foot and below. And those are the ones that end up failing a lot because they're older and they, close roads. But people may not hear about them as much as if a bridge were to fail or something, but there's a lot that has to be maintained. And it also includes bridges in the city. The bridges throughout the city, for the most part, are also under county jurisdiction.
And Angela Bridge is going to close when?
Well, let's see, it's the 6th. Actually, I believe that we are pushing that back a couple weeks because of the other project that's going on.
At Leland and
Yeah.
Riverside there?
Yeah.
Good thinking.
So we talked to the contractor, and they've also been okay with pushing that back a couple weeks.
Okay. Because I don't want to drive to Cleveland Road every day.
Understand.
Thank you.
There were several others that shared your pain.
Mr. Kursich would be one.
If we have no other questions, do we have a motion to approve the engineering services agreement?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you,
carries.
guys.
Thank you.
Next is item E, approval of surveying services for Riverside campus.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this for further discussion, and Mr. Mishkin alluded to this kind of got pushed ahead before we had other things to do.
Sure, there was a request to take a look at carving out or subdividing the cemetery, the Portage Manor land proper, that type of thing. I think Mr. Critchlow has generously at least started the discussion of taking over maintenance of the cemetery out there since it's in his township. But at this point, I think the commissioners had decided let's hold off on getting the survey done.
In addition, we were notified this morning that there may have been some of that work already done, so we really need to take a look at the proposal we have. So, we have a motion to table. Do we have a second?
Well, is Abby here, though? Could she talk more about it?
There's nothing to say right now.
Nothing to say?
No, we need to
Okay,
take
I'm sorry, I
take a
was
more
like-
in-depth look at this.
Comments, so I'll second it.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Finally, under infrastructure planning and growth, approval of the SJC FEMA home buyout closeout statements.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Chris
morning.
Brown, formerly
Gee.
of the 11th floor.
It's good to see you.
But with Antero Group now as the consultant for finishing this project out. Address is 18322 Claremont Drive in South Bend. Before you this morning are some final documents that need to be signed to help us or help the county close out the FEMA buyout program. So we, as you guys remember, there were two grant programs that helped with acquiring homes in the Jewel Woods neighborhood from the floods of 2016 and 2018. And so these documents are kind of the final statement of voluntary participations. This was a voluntary program through and through. The property owners all signed an initial form. FEMA is requiring now this second form. It basically is just saying, you acknowledge that this was a voluntary program, there was no threat of eminent domain or anything like that from the county. These are just kind of those final documents that we need to be signed, but they need to be signed by the President of the Commissioners. So would request those signatures. Happy to answer any questions.
For those of us who weren't here when this started, can you give a little more background as to how this whole program began, just briefly?
Sure. So we had 100-year, 500-year floods, I believe, in 2016, and then in 2018, slightly less. But the Jewel Woods neighborhood There was a culvert breakdown, and as many of the people in the community probably remember, there was 8 feet of water in some of the basements and tri-levels of a lot of the homes in this area. FEMA runs a program, couple programs for disaster mitigation. So basically saying, you know, instead of trying to fix up your home and spending a lot of money because it's kind of a noticed flood area, FEMA offers these funding programs to help get homeowners out of potentially dangerous situations again and move them into another area. So the idea behind this when we first did it back in 2018 was looking at the Jewel Woods neighborhood. It prone to flooding because of the Phillips ditch that runs through there, and so we were able to apply and then secure approximately $2.8 million from FEMA and then a local share with St. Joseph County to acquire homes and demo them, raise them, and then return everything to green space in perpetuity. So those are FEMA's regulations. They have to be deeded in perpetuity. So they will remain that way forever. So that was the idea of it, and it was just, again, preemptive kind of mitigation practices.
And it's all done, right?
It's all done. There are no more acquisitions, so we ended up buying 16 properties between the two grant programs out of 26, which is a pretty good rate given it's a voluntary program. So I got some of the numbers, but yeah, we're under budget on all of it, and so these documents are just some of the final things. We're expecting to close it out here at the kind of middle to end of June.
Yeah, and Bill had said that we're going to remove the grants, then what leftover grant stuff that we have is remove it, return it?
Yeah, so the grants, so any remaining money from the grants do go back to FEMA at that point. We've used a sizable portion of it, you know, a good majority, but again, because it's a voluntary program, you know, we ended up spending what we could to get people out of there who wanted to participate.
He said it's all done. Yay.
All done.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item under old business is the Portage Manor update. As many of you know, this has been probably the singular most discussed, debated item before the county in my tenure late last year. Thanks to the work of the task force, we received several proposals, of which they weren't truly proposals, they were options. And the number one recommendation was the public-private partnership, of which the proposal from Dr. Atala came the closest to meeting that. However, after reviewing Dr. Atala's proposal and having an independent third party look at that, we realized that, and you heard last week, there is some significant shortfalls and items that remain to be worked out. I think the one thing that I have heard more than anything, and we've received numerous emails from people, has to do with doing what's right for the residents. And that means a couple of things depending on your point of view. Primarily, it means doing what's right in terms of the facility that they're in, and also removing doubt and uncertainty from them. I've heard that numerous times. Make a decision and move forward. So with that, we did have a review of Dr. Atala's proposal. And Derek, do you want to, or Mike, do you want to summarize?
Sure, I'll speak before our attorney. Again, thank to Mark Catanzarite, Jason Critchell, and everybody on the task force that put work into this. Again, it was not an easy decision for anybody, especially the residents and also the staff. The staff has worked out there for a long time, and it's as stressful to them as it is the resident. Again, this is something that we've put a lot of effort into it. Unfortunately, some of the emails that come in that our decision will guide how people vote. If you know me, I don't care about that. I care about doing the right thing. With the information we had, I'd like to thank Dr. Attella, who attempted to try to do this, and it's a monumental task. And we have handouts that we can get, that we'll put at the table when Kara gets back. One, the consultant report, in addition to our attorney's overview of all of the options, like President Baxmeyer alluded to, and then also we'll have online the 30 questions that we had for Dr. Attalla, and Mr. Mish can answer or give a summary of those questions. I think about 60% weren't answered, that couldn't be answered. So again, it was a community issue that we took community support. The commissioners did vote to close this over 7 weeks ago. We are going to stand by that, and it goes to the council for further, but all this information has been publicized. We did weekly meetings with updates from either Mark Catanzarite or Jason Critchell during the process. We have published Dr. Talla's report in addition to all the information that we have, and this other information is going to be available for your consumption. So again, thanks for everybody. Hopefully we will continue this and find suitable places for everybody to go. And Mr. Mish will comment on the other things that he did. And the consultant report is very accurate. It's a very good report. It explains the complexity of if once you get into this, the licensing, if you own the building, and all the other things that go into it. Again, it's a huge, huge step. And again, I thank Dr. Attalla for attempting to do this, and then we'll go on from there. Mr. Mish.
Sure. One of the main concerns that was echoed by our state ombudsman and other individuals at the state was the ability for licensing to take place for Dr. Attalla, not only on the building, but to obtain the necessary individuals to work in the facility that are required by law, such as a licensed administrator, director of nursing, assistant director of nursing. You have to have an activities director, things like that. Those things were not fleshed out in the plan, and the immediate concern was if the county turned over the facility, that facility would be an immediate violation of the law and cause significant problems. And based on the inability to resolve that and obtain reasonable responses back from Dr. Attalla, I think that's why the consultant's report reflects what it does, and I think that's why the commissioners are sticking with their decision at this point and not going down that road.
We didn't just sit back and wait for the task force report or Dr. Attalla's report. Several county councilmen and commissioners looked at other options. And that said, we have been working on a best case scenario and a fifth option to consider. Closing the facility will require rehousing the Portage Manor residents. And one of the things we heard was keep the residents together. And we believe we have an option. It's preliminary, and we will be presenting that to the council and the public once we have a finalized agreement. But there is an option to take almost all of the residents. Again, it's voluntary. Not every resident will opt for that. But it will allow residents to stay together, which we heard loud and clear the last few weeks, that is, if not as important as being in the building in Portage Manor, keeping them together is also of great concern to everyone. So we will have more to say about that when we get the final details worked out. Anybody want to add anything to that?
No?
May I say? May I come? And again, I just really want you to know that I prefer to have Portage Manor stay as our county home. Thank you. And then unfortunately, though, in my opinion, there are so many terrible things that need to be paid for so much. And I believe it is not true. But again, and I always love to help people, so I want to make sure we're doing the best thing to help people in our county. So, you know, I've always wanted to help it for years and years. And again, I've just been told we can just spend $1.9 million now. Oh, yes, all right, let's do this. Get it updated, fine. Anyway, that's just me, though. I just love to help people. Thank you.
Therefore, that being said, everything being said, anybody want to add anything else from up here? We are going to stand by our decision and pass this on to the county council to ratify at their meeting next week. With that, we will open it up to public comment.
Under privilege of the floor.
Under privilege of the floor, yes. Who wishes to speak first?
I think this is a very tragic day for our community. The people in that building should be like this.
I agree.
Tragedy. Nobody put more, how much money was put into that thing in the last 20 years? Mr. Kostelny, you're sitting there. You were part of the commissioners since 2009. Why wasn't it taken care of in all of these years? And now all of a sudden, let's get the hell out of it. I'm sorry, but I think this is a tragedy to do that to the people and that building. I'm a preservationist in heart.
Ma'am, could we get your name and
Thank
address
you.
for the record?
My name
please?
and address is Christine Galvis, Galwas. My address is 17837 Bridgeview Drive, and you people have known how I have felt for a very long time, and I think it's sad.
Thank you.
Good morning, Deborah Dural, 21677 Autumn Road, South Bend. I'm here this morning to follow up on a letter that I sent to the Board of Commissioners, and I'm raising awareness about the need to have complex discussions across the boundary lines. This is a perfect example, and I do appreciate the considered approach and the detail that is being used in this approach from the start through the finish. And it's come to my awareness that this really is not happening along the riverside. The Riverside Trail and Riverside Bank maintenance is an issue that is confusing to everyone. We don't know where the lines are. We don't know how to approach it. We don't know how to deliver the product, in spite of the fact that at the outset of these kinds of projects, we have a lot of voices in support of it, from development all the way through to the environmental concerns. But the budgets, the education of the public and the contractors and the departmental personnel are really not there. And I've been encouraged to name names about this, but I don't really feel that's appropriate at this time because it really goes across all of the boundaries and the resources that we share. I do think that we have a problem with our budgets. Either the allocation of those to hire the contractors and the people who are delivering these products. Anytime that we have people and natural areas interacting, it gets really messy. So I'm talking to the people who are involved with this, and we're hoping to set up working meetings, and I would appreciate your increased awareness on this as you approve budgets and development projects going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Trish Becker, born and raised here in South Bend. Now I live in Elkhart at 217 West Crawford Street. My sister is a resident at Portage Manor.
Ma'am, could you move closer to the
Oh, excuse me,
microphone?
yes.
Yeah, it was
My
hard for-
sister is a resident at Portage Manor. She has been since the late 80s. She's now over 60 years old. So, like all the other parents and families and what have you, now we have to try and figure out what and where and who. I mean, I can't put her in a nursing home per se. I need a place that is trained in mental health care. It's not just a matter of putting her somewhere. It's more than that. It's a quality of life. You had mentioned that there is the possibility of keeping their residents together. I can't make it to all the meetings. I can't keep taking off work and what have you. What are these options? What is this option? Where? Is this part of one of Dr. Ayala's suggestions or possibilities? Because that would be, I have offered to take her into my home because I don't want her in a care facility because I know they're not going to care for her as well as they did at Portage Manor. But if there's a possibility of keeping them together, yes, that is their family, almost more than we are their family. What were these options?
As you may know, this really isn't a debate, or if you would like, there is a privilege of the floor form we'll be happy to share with you. But right now, we don't have all the details. We have a preliminary discussion started with Commissioner Dieter, and we followed up on that as a potential option. And we will release more once we have an agreement to share with everybody.
Good morning. Stephanie Murphy. I'm the Executive Director at St. Joe County Public Library, 304 South Main Street. Did not intend to speak on this at all, but I don't have anything to say except to just hold some space for the people who got bad news today and acknowledge their pain. So I'm sorry for them, but that's not why I'm here. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to share some highlights from the library in 2022. You have our 2022 annual report right there. And so just to pick out a couple of things for you, last year we received a $140,000 grant from the FCC, which allowed us to make 200 laptops and hotspots available for community use through local nonprofits like La Casa, Camp Mill House, and St. Margaret's House, and many more. Another really exciting thing that happened last year and culminated this year is that we got library cards for every kindergarten student in South Bend Community Schools and the Empowerment Zone. And in February, every one of those kindergartners came to the library and was able to check out a library book. So that was one of our biggest accomplishments, I would say. And it's so much fun to be in the library when all those kindergartners are coming in and checking out books and just looking around and being amazed. In January of last year, of 2022, we opened our new Community Learning Center. Since we opened that space, just in 2022 alone, we hosted more than 600 different community groups who held meetings, trainings, everything from businesses, nonprofits, the city, the county has used the space, and we think that's pretty huge. More than 3,000 people, 3,000. We had 3,000 participants in our summer reading program, so we do these really large community, high-impact things, and then we do some really small, intensely impactful things like our biweekly meetups for our Afghan refugees, the women and children who are refugees. So we continue daily to provide rich experiences, educational and social opportunities, and facilities that greatly enhance the quality of place here in St. Joseph County. And we're grateful to have the support of the commissioners in our work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Morning, Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. First, I want to thank the commissioners for, I believe in the good of people, and I believe you have had good intentions, and you intend to follow through and get the best situation for those currently housed at Portage Manor going forward here. But as they say, there's things move when you get business involved, things move at the speed of business with no regard for individuals. And I'm afraid with the item that was tabled today from Danch, Harner and Associates with their plans for developing the Riverside campus, I'm sorry, Commissioners, but you can't tell me that that has come up within the last 60 days. That has to have been in the works, I'm going to say, for over a year. And for it to come up for consideration but get tabled today, I'm skeptical. It looks suspicious to me, like there never was a plan, or it never was planned to keep the residents housed at Portage Manor, because this plan with Danch, Harner and Associates and business moving at the speed of light took precedent over saving Portage Manor. But I do believe, I know some don't, but I do believe in the goodness of the commission finding the right setting, the best setting for the people currently housed at Portage Manor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Pam Clays, 1106 Bellevue Avenue, South Bend. I am devastated. We knew this was going to happen. And it appears that some of these things, decisions, have been behind closed doors. And Mr. Dieter, you made the comment about voters. Yes, voters will see this. We don't know what the consultants, you know, I've asked you for a public forum with give and take so we can work to keep it open. This is devastating, and we will remember this. What are we going to do? I don't even know what else to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree.
Thank you, Deb. You go, Mark.
Mark Huffman, 3016 Portage Avenue. Well, this is my home. But the thing is, if you keep us all together, whether it's in the building we're in now or in a different building, the residents will be happy because we're still together. And if we moved to a new building, have the staff people we got now moved over to the new building with us, then that way we can, because those staff people are like a family to us too. I've been living there for 33 years. It would be kind of hard to get used to living in a new area if we have to move out of the area that we're in now. But as long as we're still together and still in South Bend, that would be a good thing for us. And I don't know if we would be able to keep the name Portage Manor because of moving out of, if we don't live on Portage Avenue, I don't know what they would call it. It's like they said, I believe in the goodness in everyone. I'm pretty sure that everyone here believes in God. I'm a minister. Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me." He also said that to whom much is given, much shall be required. So if we're given something, we should be required, that would be required of us.
Thank you, Pastor. And could you say a prayer for us when you're there?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you do it
Anybody
right
else
now?
want to?
Can you do it right now? Yeah.
Our Father, we thank you for bringing us together here today. We ask that you are able to keep all of our residents together, whether it be in the place we are now or in a different location. We ask that you give the county commissioners the right frame of mind, that they are able to do the right thing, and that the county council will do the right thing as well. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody else in the room wish to speak?
Laura McClellan.
You can
I'm sorry,
lift
what?
that up a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Laura McClellan, 6344 Indian Point Road, Leroy Township, Ohio. Commissioner Dieter, please look up at me while I'm speaking. Am I using my 3 minutes while I wait for Commissioner Dieter to look up? Thank you. My brother, Edward McClellan, has lived at Portage Manor for 18 years. He is a lifelong resident of St. Joe County. I'd like to thank the commissioners and the county council for inspiring me to engage directly in local politics. The first time I visited this county city building was to register to vote in 1992. But until this spring, I had never attended a meeting of elected officials, either here in Indiana or in Ohio. I'd also like to thank the community members of St. Joe County who renewed my hope in the political process. They have shown me that I do not have to be directly affected by a political decision to care about it and try to make a positive change in my community. I was shocked to learn yesterday that Portage Manor is one of only 2 facilities in St. Joe County that accept Indiana's Residential Care Assistance Plan, RCAP. The other facility, Woodridge Assisted Living, is not accepting new residents. As of May 25th, 2023, there are 23 RCAP facilities in the entire state of Indiana. The Residential Care Assistance Plan pays for the care of nearly every resident of Portage Manor, with very few exceptions. When residents of Portage Manor, like Mark, and their loved ones, like me, tell you that they have nowhere else to go, it is not hyperbole. Those who only qualify for RCAP will be forced to move out of St. Joe County when you close Portage Manor. Before today, I said if, now I say when. I hope I am not overestimating your compassion when I assume you do not actually want to force the residents of Portage Manor to leave St. Joe County. Please keep it open, or at the very least, keep the residents together in the community they know. Please continue to serve these vulnerable members of your community. My brother is a registered and active voter. He may have voted for you, Commissioner Dieter. I haven't asked him because I think his voting decisions are private. And I met you a couple of years ago at a summer bash at Portage Manor. And you said you cared about Portage Manor and its residents. And I want you to know how betrayed I feel by your behavior since then.
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing nobody else in the room getting up, we'll move to the folks online. I'm sorry, I can't see the name. Go ahead and unmute that.
JR.
JR, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Julie Calhoun. 51517 Haverhill Court, South Bend, Indiana. Thank you, Laura, for speaking up for all the family members. We were promised for it to stay open over and over and over again. Where are you going to house the 85 people together? Why is it such a big, fat secret? Is it in St. Joe County? Because I will be very happy if it is. If there weren't 181 acres involved in this situation, would we be having this conversation? 181 acres is quite a lot of land. Nice land for a bike path, Mr. Dieter, and you couldn't even respond to me again. Why did you guys choose to be commissioners if it isn't to reach out to people and help and ask questions and answer questions? Why couldn't you do that? I wrote all the commissioners and the council members individual letters, the same letter, and Mr. Mish up there too, because I wanted him to hear. I
don't know if maybe you can't do because you don't have video.
No, I'm trying.
I don't know.
I don't know if you can still hear me or not.
Yes,
Can
we
you
can.
still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I ask you, why did you want to become commissioners in the first place? I'm just hoping and praying that you will keep them together. My brother is an RCAP recipient, I believe. It's very confusing. Why are there two pots of money? RCAP is low, Medicaid waiver is high. Mental illness does not go into that circle. It's all decompartmentalized. And I don't understand it. I mean, I do, I'm beginning to understand it, but it's BS that you guys are not telling us right now where it's going to be. I mean, why are we playing cat and mouse games right now? We deserve to know, and so do they. Mr. Dieter, did you get my email? Can't answer. There's a homeless people right now in the corner of Cleveland and 31. I saw them because I pass them all the time. I surely hope that they will truly be together in a supervised place with care and with the right staff and the right people. I thank the task force for doing what they did all this time. And Attella, you gave her 60 days? Who can come up with?
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robin, your hand was up next.
Hi, good morning. Robin Chandler, 25612 Shorewood Court, South Bend, Indiana, 46619. I was planning to be there this morning, but was unable to due to an appointment that ran over. But I do have some comments that I wanted to share publicly. I do appreciate each of you commissioners and the work that you do. I know these aren't easy decisions. And the right decision is important. I mean, you only get a one shot at this. To make the wrong decision is catastrophic for St. Joseph County, for the current residents and the future residents who will need this service, and there's nothing like it. I'm curious why Bonavita's full presentation was not released to the public. Michael Mish, Commissioner Fleming, and Andy Castelny, former commissioner, had a full presentation with myself and Tom from Bonavita, which was paid by county dollars for that study to be done. He had a whole presentation, video. It showed how the building could be reconstructed and in phases. The only thing that we were missing at that time was a pro forma, which was well on its way with the work with John Murphy and showed a return on investment within 5 years. And that would have been a $9 million investment. I don't understand why that hasn't been made public. That was a great plan. Dr. Attella's plan is fine. She needs more time, but this was an outstanding plan. And at that time, there were American Rescue Plan money that could have been afforded to that cause. which is going to be way less expensive than the cost of these homeless people, the social costs, and just the inhumane costs that you're causing unnecessarily right now. I like how Mark Huffman said that much is to those much is giving, much is required. You know, all of you that sit up there, you know, much has been given to you. You've had, you know, good educations, good opportunities. Much is required of you, and you're elected to do that, to make the right and informed decision. As far as licensing, you should be well aware of the county home has its own code, Indiana code for licensing. We are the only licensed residential home in Indiana that is a county home. County homes do not have to be licensed by the state of Indiana. We are the only one out of, I believe, 10, if not 9, that are still currently running. I was the only licensed administrator at our county home association meetings. I shared that information with Mark Katanzarite. I gave him information for other administrators who run other county homes. Chris Overman in Clinton County, you can call him. Those commissioners, and they do not run at a profit. Those county homes are ran because it's the right thing to
Your
do.
3
They
minutes
run
are
it
up.
at
Thank you
deficit.
so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Next,
Hello.
we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Craig Coburn McDonald, 6223 Winslow Court. My sister is a resident of Portage Manor. You know, this is kind of an amazing vote, but not unexpected to me. I mean, we asked you to do the right thing. This seems to be the right thing by what you think. You asked us to do something that couldn't be done in 60 days, and we did it. Was it perfect? No. But you know what? It was a start, and it showed that this place could be open and stay open. You know, we've always asked you for clarity on Portage Manor. You have given us none from the beginning. It's all been smoke and mirrors. You have no answers for us, none. You say you've got a plan for these people, the residents, where they're going to be together. Hey, how about telling the family members where that is? You're going to do that before you place them? Don't know. You know, it's just sad that you guys were given a job. We couldn't come to compromise on how this could work, even though we know it could work. And it's sad that we're dividing up all this land. Everybody's got plans for the lands, but nobody's got plans for the residents. This hasn't been a day one thing. This has not happened overnight. It's really weird that we can't sell some of that land and use that money to take care of Portage Manor. You know, Riverside Campus, somebody's going to be making money off of that, but it won't be Portage Manor residents. They'll have to live somewhere else. You know, it's just sad to me watching the council, and especially Derek Dieter. It looks like this was already done. This was done before we even had the 60 days. So I don't even know what to say, except that I'm disgusted. And now I hope I don't have to quit my job so that I can make sure my sister's taken care of. I don't have nothing else to say. Thank you for considering, but I don't think there was ever a consideration. I'm sorry. You guys have a good day.
Next, Roy.
Good morning, Commissioners. I don't know that there's much more that I can add that the previous speakers have already pointed out. You know, I think this whole process over the last 60 days has just been because you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Very disappointed in this result. We know that there's the money there from to at least phase in the remodeling concerns. And there's ways to find it, as the Todd Ziegler's pointed out. As far as the budget goes, you know, we've pointed out that it would cost the residents less, the citizens of St. Joseph County, less than 1 penny a day from a budgeting standpoint if it were added to, if we had to take on the extra $700,000 in cost. You know, and unfortunately, all that money is actually in the budget already. It's just going to other sources under the health fund and the health wind fund. This is just a disappointing vote. I would hope that you would continue to speak to the county council, and if they can come up with a good financial plan to make Portage Manor, if they're willing to accept allocating those funds for remodeling and to allocate $700,000 out of the existing budget to cover those costs. I think that would be a very viable option. Yeah, just a bummer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else online wish to speak? Seeing nobody, I will entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.